Hello and welcome to Archvelder's Hacks with Archvelder and his amazing hacks. Hellfire Citadel, that's the version in Draenor in Tanaan Jungle, is one of the largest instances in the game. The three versions of the raid, Normal, Heroic and Mythic, return in total 10,000 gold at the rate of 120 to 150 gold per minute, depending on your class, taking just over an hour. Now that's pretty good, but we can do better. A big problem with Hellfire Citadel is the first boss, Hellfire Assault. This is really time consuming, requiring lots of running around, gathering up trash, roleplay, and even though the encounter has been nerfed relatively recently, it still adds a disproportionate amount to the overall time the raid in total takes. So ideally we'd like to be able to skip this encounter altogether, which will make the three wings of the raid much more profitable. It turns out that this is possible with the Demon Hunter and possibly other classes, as we'll discover. By the way, Hellfire Citadel is fine as a raw gold farm, but almost all raw gold farms are never worth much more than about 10k gold per hour. If you want to push your gold making further, then I would strongly recommend you consider joining my Patreon, where we have much more powerful gold making methods. We have a working dupe at the moment, so it is a great time to join. Now, this video is a bit different from most of my stuff. If you just want to know how the skip works, then drag the slider over to 5 minutes and 34 seconds. However, I think that most of you will be interested in watching the video all the way through at least once. Partly because I'm going to explain in more detail than I usually do about how to develop an exploit like this, and partly because the cat and mouse game the exploitation community plays with Blizzard, I think you'll agree is fascinating. So I found a video by a guy called JD from April last year, which explained how to skip Hellfire Assault using the following method. You go up to these spikes to the right of the main gate into Hellfire Citadel proper, then target the area behind them. The idea is to jump onto this point using some reticle based ability. Now here I'm using Infernal Strike in Vengeance spec. It's a little tricky to pull this off the first time, but you'll find it becomes easy with practice. You are now outside the normal parameters of the game. This was only ever intended to be scenery. You are not supposed to be here. Until a few days ago, you could then just walk through the walls, jump down, run along to the right, and swim up through the pools of fell around Cormrock. Unfortunately, look what happens when you try this now. There's a death wall. Now this is where it gets quite exciting. It is really quite easy to break through the walls of an instance normally, but that is not too surprising since Blizzard didn't really take that into consideration in the design stages. However, when they're going to extraordinary lengths to stop you, the whole thing becomes a much more interesting intellectual challenge. Now there are ways to beat death walls using lag, but that's kind of an advanced technique which has a limited audience, and lag maxes out at 8 seconds before you disconnect, so it is not really appropriate here as you have to run along the ground for around 30 seconds. There are other advanced exploit techniques that will allow you to go straight through solid objects, but they require some setup and multiple counts. We really need a simple solution that solo players can use. So the first thing I tried was to try the same trick via a different route. So this time I broke out of the back of the instance using a method taken from a YouTuber called Marius Nilsen. You just jump onto this invisible wall and use Vengeful Retreat. This still works after the nerf. You can get out of the instance this way and explore most of the surrounding terrain. Just avoid the death wall under the citadel. However, I'm focused on skipping through the instance for now, so I made my way round to the left. That's the left as you leave the citadel, as I knew that previously you could reach Cormrock via this route. But long before I could access Cormrock, this happens. Another death wall. Clearly, Blizzard are not messing around here. They do not want you to skip any bosses. So I tried the Nilsen technique again, breaking out of the main gate and going around to the right this time. Now there was a skip here which led to Gorefiend if you could pull it off, but again we hit another death wall. So now I return to JD's original, very direct method at the door of the inner citadel. I tried to enter via the door, which used to be completely insubstantial. You could walk straight through it, but it is now solid. However, if you look closely, there's a small gap on the right hand side of the main door when we go underneath it. Using careful positioning and Feld Rush, it is finally possible to get past the main door, and we are now in the Citadel proper. Let's just look at that in slow motion again, as the positioning is important. From here you can just proceed to Cornrock and kill him, and then kill the rest of the raid bosses in the instance. So is this actually worth it? With very little practice you can increase your total gold per minute profits from this one skip by 15%. So if you're making 140 gold per minute running the Citadel in its entirety, you'd make 160 gold per minute with the skip. That's a big difference which really adds up. It's 20 gold per minute extra. Now, can we do this with non-demon hunters? It's going to be tough. The first part is very easy. Using the JD method, any class can break into the forbidden area using the essence Ripple in Space, as I'm demonstrating here. But the second part is much harder because you don't have the demon hunter's double jump ability. I tried using a Lightfoot potion and slow fall after jumping on these crates, but I always fell just short. So you will definitely need a dedicated speed set to do this on other classes. You might just be able to get across with a druid using Wild Charge. I'm not sure about that. I didn't have the essence on a druid. Now, always with this type of video, someone will ask, can I get banned for doing this? Historically, no one has ever been banned for using a skip in legacy content. So normally I'd say that the chance is very close to absolute zero. The strange thing is, Blizzard aren't exactly acting rationally here, so it is difficult to say exactly what they might do in future. It made absolutely no sense to prioritise developer time to this skip for a fix, when so many basic features of the game just don't work, as anyone who has tried PvP with more than 20 players in a given space recently will attest. So it isn't possible for me to be absolutely certain what they will or will not do. That said, I think the chance of individual players being banned for using this skip is still probably less than 1%. So there's the video. If you liked it, why not subscribe, and make sure you hit the bell notification to make sure YouTube actually tells you when I upload. Often my videos get fixed very fast, so you'll want to get them when I upload. And if you really liked it, why not consider joining my super secret Patreon feed, where exploits too hot for YouTube get posted on a regular basis. Thanks for watching. This has been Archvelder.